Good morning. Good morning, everyone. This is my first time being at one of the PWI seminars. So first of all, I want to say thank you for having me and inviting me. What I noticed early this morning and also last night during the dinner is many of the delegates know much more about Bentley than I do. So I want to say thank you for your trust and in Bentley. But that also brings responsibility to us as a technology company. And what I wanted to acknowledge briefly today, this morning, is we are aware of some of the feedback and requirements specifically in some of our design applications, including OpenRail, and it has the highest attention of our leadership team. So I just wanted, before talking about anything else, acknowledge that, and hopefully attending more PWI events will help us to connect to our users better and understand the requirements as well. So what I want to talk today is, well, of course, the subject is digital delivery, and what I will try to do is, for the first part of the presentation, I will talk about Bentley's vision, what we see, how the industry is changing, why digital twin, why digital delivery, and then talk about how it's done on TRU project. And it fits nicely with the rest of the presentations this morning when TRU team and Alison and Raymond and Sherwin are going to talk about the digital construction. But what I want to highlight is what you said, Joan, that the real value comes in when we move from digital delivery to operations and maintenance, and how to hold that intelligence and data. And that's the part that, as a technology company, Bentley, we cannot do all of it, because it's not just about tech, it's about behavior, people, culture, and processes as well. Yeah, so if I start by, I mean, hopefully most people here know about Bentley, but we see ourselves as a infrastructure digital twin organization. And my responsibilities in transport, well, we define railroads and bridges as transport sector. Our focus is on two areas. One is project delivery, and the other part is asset performance. And what I will try to do today is not to name a single Bentley product. So that's always my challenge, but we see how it goes. So let's focus on the why we see, and this is not just based on Bentley's research. This is what we have done in the past, I would say 6 years, talking to many of our users, working with research organizations to see what is changing in our industry in transport. And I'm pretty sure most of it is not a surprise to you. Things like aging infrastructure. We all know about the challenges of operating assets. Workforce shortage and efficiency. I mean, that one is quite interesting, because what we noticed is the number of vacancies in our sector has increased by like 39%, 40%, but the applications actually fell by 23%. So we have more vacancies, but less people applying. Again, that's not just UK, it's globally what we've noticed. The other thing that we see is focus on environmental and sustainability. I mean, these days, what we noticed is, again, globally, 40% of the CO2 emissions is coming from transport. So we have a huge responsibility to address that and try to incorporate that into design and operations of our assets. So this is the why. This is why we think industry is changing, and it creates an opportunity for all of us. So how we respond to that, we talk about predictive decision support on assets, predictive maintenance, insight that we can get from our assets, and during design and build and construction, but also operation of the assets. 4D construction, again, after my presentation, colleagues from TRU project will talk about specifically digital construction and how it's done, what sort of problems it resolves. And of course, visualization and simulation that I will briefly talk about this morning. So that's why we see more and more users across the globe. Many of our engineering and operators organizations are moving from a file-based approach to what we call data-centric approach. And what we mean by that is, rather than spending hours and days, and we have a good example today to talk about, it is a very slow process, because, as I said, it's not about tech, it's about changing behavior, mindset as well. But what we see is we slowly move from having complex, time-intensive processes, which is going to take hours, import, export, optimize, enhance, go back, do all of that again, to have a more simplified approach, which is what we call streamed digital twin, which is going to take minutes to hours, which means the first part of that is the automated process, and then we can move to enhance and experience. So that's why, if you look at our industry, how it's been changing in the past few years, when we look at the hardware and software that we have been using, slowly we are moving from desktop, we move to servers, then mobile phones, and now everyone is talking about cloud. If you look at how we design, build, and operate our assets from 2D drawings, well, still 2D drawings today, but slowly 3D, 4D, and then talking about sustainability and CO2 in design. And how we make decisions is, again, moving away from, hopefully, moving away from drawings and reports to digital standards and data and insight. And that's why digital twins are important. I mean, how we define digital twins is a digital representation of the assets and processes and systems. So it's not just asset itself, it's all the dependencies as well. But the key thing is connection of the physical and digital assets. And back to what you said, Johan, is what's going to happen to all of the design and construction data that is how is it going to be maintained? And we have made some progress slowly with some of our accounts, with some of our customers globally. In the UK, there is still a long way to go, but we had some success in the US, in Asia, and we want to see that happening in this country. We want that change to happen. So I will show again, when we come to the operations and maintenance, some of the things that we do as Bentley to enable that change. But yeah, again, making that change happen is beyond technology. Regardless of the definition of digital twin, I think I use this from actually NetworkRel, one of NetworkRel documents, is to drive to get any sort of value from digital twins and fulfill a purpose, they need to drive better decision making. And that's why in every program, in every major program that I've seen in Northern Europe, by that I mean UK, Ireland, Nordics, and Baltics, every program that implementation of digital delivery and digital twin was successful, they started with the end. They started with understanding the benefits of that. It's not just enabling a digital twin or BIM or digital delivery, but why. The focus on why was months or even years to be able to quantify the benefits. And that's why when we put initially like 2019, I think even 2018 with TRU team, we spent almost 6 to 8 months just quantifying the benefits of the program. Why we want to have that digital platform included in the program. Well, I need to say thank you, by the way, to NetworkRel and Jacobs at that time, because the work was done by them. What some of the benefits, how we quantify them, is reducing the cost and time, quality, reducing risk, and improving sustainability. And when I moved to the TRU project to show some videos and examples, you can see actually how it's done and how the benefits were measured. And again, back to what Johan mentioned in the beginning, the full value only comes when we consider the full life cycle: design, build, and operation. And that's why the future direction of Bentley is simply having towards digital twin and physical assets, which are always connected. And that's, again, covering conceptual design, detailed design, construction, operations, and maintenance. So that's why how we define our solutions moving forward, and that was an announcement in the Bentley year in infrastructure, is we move into Bentley Infrastructure Cloud. We try to move away from having disconnected products. Well, you mentioned project-wise, or it could be EV or different design applications, to a platform which enables all these solutions to work together. And that's already there. That's 80% there. So whether it's design, build, or operation, we want to enable that sort of continuous connectivity during the life cycle of an asset. So probably you say, okay, that's all great, but how is it done? And that's why in the next part of the presentation, I want to focus on the work that was done on transponder route upgrade by the alliance led by Jacob at that time. And things have changed. I was talking to Alison and also what's going to happen to the next phases of TRU. So what was the objective? I mean, let's just start with the objective. The objective of having that digital platform was a few things. One was just visualization, be able to share and visualize information, having a single source of truth, avoid manual import, export, dealing with different file formats, different applications, Bentley, non-Bentley, to have a single platform which brings everything together, which then can result in unlocking the data and getting insight from the data. But also, there was a requirement from the FD as a proof of concept to be able to optimize the design for carbon footprint. So what they wanted to do was, okay, everything can come together in a single platform. How can we use the same platform to report on carbon and CO2 emissions for the whole life cycle of the asset as well? So what I'm going to do in the next few slides, I'll just show you some outputs of how they've done it and what was achieved. And again, in the next presentation, we go in more detail and talk about the digital construction part. So the first part, if you are a designer on a project, what you're interested in is basically a virtual representation of data and a single source of truth. So what we were able to do on the project was the alliance and different participants in the program were able to use different authoring tools, Bentley, non-Bentley, it doesn't matter, and bring everything into a single platform, which was hosted on cloud, and it enabled so whenever things were changed during the design, it was reflected again in the platform as well automatically without the need to every time import and export. But what was also important was to, of course, bring the survey data to be able to do things like clash detection and also be able to assess better in terms of health and safety and, okay, what's the existing asset, where are they located, how the design files are gonna sit on top of it. So again, the digital twin platform which was there enabled the team to have an integrated view of the surveys and all the files and asset data there. But also health and safety, we talked about health and safety requirements. And again, because the digital twin platform which was in the program was open, and that's one of the key considerations, it enabled that to connect to other third-party applications. And I think this one is called safety base. You know that anyway. It brings all the hazard data and into the design as well. So you can just click and see in safety base what are the risks and what's the mitigation for them. Insight, we talked about Insight. Again, being an open platform, it enables the team to be able to see the models, but also, for example, if you want to see how much material is used, or what's the length of the track, or how many people have worked on the project on a specific time. Have a global view as a project director. That insight and reporting tool enables you to achieve that as well. Briefly, I will just talk about the construction. So that's everything at very high level during the design phase, but what's going to happen in construction. So I think the key benefit here is use the same environment, all the what we call project digital twin, which is built, all the models, all the data. And rather than starting from scratch and build another construction digital twin, just be able to pass that into construction and 4D sequencing. So that's what happened, again, in transponder route upgrade. And that's a small example, but again, in the next presentation, there's more discussion about it. But the whole value, again, comes from avoiding duplication in the work and just passing whatever was there to the 4D simulation. And that's, of course, for planning, but also for health and safety and any potential delays in construction. Now, the next part is of great interest to us in Bentley, and this is not TRU, of course. But I think when I was presenting at RIA event, someone asked me, I think Tim Flower probably is here, he asked me, okay, what's going to happen in operations? What's going to happen when everything, all the design data is there and you do all the nice things in construction, and then at some point you hand over to owner-operator? But the answer to that is At this stage, we do have some proof of concept projects going on. We had success in other countries, as I highlighted. We had success in the States, in DOTs in the States. We had success in Asia with some owner-operators that they actually did the whole life cycle, that they started a new project, greenfield project, in design, they move into construction, and then when they move into operations, there are two things happening. One is sensor data and bringing IoT into the same platform that you've built. You design everything, you move into construction, and you maintain the same environment, but now you have IoT, sensors, everything, and our digital twin platform brings in all the data. Of course, Bentley is not in a IoT business, but we do have a platform. Our digital twin platform now supports majority of the integrations with IoT devices. So the last 18 months, like 80% of the focus of Bentley in acquisitions and investment has been into operations and IoT side. So now we have a separate IoT team that all they do is working with our partners to enable that integration of IoT and sensor data into the digital twin, because that's where the value comes. And that's what, I mean, our next work with owner-operators and Network Rail is how can we enable that? How can we work with other partners to enable that, that transition? But the other part is more challenging, is how do we use the data, asset data that we have there, rather than manual enter into an asset information management system, which is happening today across many programs and projects in the UK. How can we automate that? So what's happening today, as most of you know better than me, is probably someone in a project is entering all the CAD data from a drawing into an asset information management system manually, but we already have all of that data. How can we just automate that process, be able to pass that data into, I don't want to name any specific software applications, but how can we pass that into the asset information management system and maintain that and make sure whenever the change is made, because we have everything there, we have already put all the details, how can we automate that change process? And that's the part which is not tech. I mean, the tech has been there for, 15 years. You know, our ALIM, Asset Lifecycle Information Management System, that has been capable of doing it for years. But it's a change that requires, again, changing behavior, mindset, and also processes. And it is our responsibility as well as a technology company to be able to enable that. So for us, that's the next biggest step. But we do have, the capabilities are there. It's more about taking the steps and making that happen. The last two slides that I want to focus on, this is about the POC work, the proof of concept that we've done for, again, the same project, but now we included carbon reporting. And what you're seeing on the screen is, as I said, the digital twin needs to be open. The digital twin platform needs to connect and integrate with other platforms and applications. And that's why, in this case, we connected to another software application, one-click LCA for carbon reporting. So whenever the design was changed, you can see the impact on the reporting and the color coding of different assets. And you change the dimension, you can see the CO2 emission during the construction and also maintenance of the asset, and be able to optimize the design. So this is an example of how you can, again, increase sustainability and CO2 reporting in the same platform, on top of things like visualization and digital construction, all of that. And the final thing I want to highlight, and I promise not to go through the details of this slide, because first I don't know half of it, and the second time it's going to take ages, is to enable that digital twin platform is not just one thing. It's not, as you, again, know better than me, it's not just a platform that you can switch on. So what you can see here is the amount of work which is gone into enabling that platform to work. And Bentley is just part of it. You can see Bentley, we are just part of it. We are the enabler of that platform. But to get the full value, you need to connect, you need to be open. And that's why you can see lots of other, even our competition is there, lots of other tools and technologies. And the whole idea is bring everything together in that single platform. And that's why the value is there. And the final thing, talking again about what John, you said in terms of the realization of the value and benefits, where are we? We are probably somewhere between construction and operations. And further we go on that curve, the more value is going to be released. And we know the efficiency gains. We were able on the project to report on time saving. We were able to to talk about the health and safety benefits. We were able to measure them. So these are all tangible benefits that we achieve. But again, back to what I said at the beginning, to get the full value, and on top you can see details about digital data and CCTV and sensors. That's the future direction that Bentley is going. That's the future direction, because in terms of the value that we can release during operations and maintenance is so significant that we are gradually moving to that direction, and we want to work with partners to be able to enable that for our users. And that's only at that time that we can get the full value. So yeah, it's a gradual process. Okay, I think that was it from me. And as I said, we on purpose say advancing infrastructure together, because we see ourselves again as an enabler, as a technology partner. But of course, we need to work with you, because there are always people elements and processes, and we need to work closely as a team to enable them. Thank you again. Thank you.